Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing, smash the like button, and most importantly, get involved in the comment section. Your thoughts on everything that I discuss and how you are feeling as an Aston Villa fan right now. Doesn't feel great, does it? It feels quite flat, and I'm going to air my thoughts today on how I'm feeling, where my concerns lie, and just a general vibe of where I'm at with Villa at this moment in time. And I hope that in this episode, there is a period where I will be positive and I will hit an area where I think I do feel a bit positive about the direction that we could possibly move into. But before we get there, I've got to air some thoughts first and kind of build up to where we're going to get to with it. So I think we've got to start with Emery. Now, I am Emery in. I'm Emery in. I really like Unai Emery. I think he's been very, very good for Aston Villa. But his message so far this season looks like it's not working. And that's his message on the style of play and how we want to play. It feels difficult. It's difficult to watch, and it looks difficult to play in. And we've seen this team over 3 years have different elements of how we play. We've been explosive, we've been dynamic, we've been creative, expressive, powerful. We've been a well-oiled, well-drilled machine that have tactical game plans per opposition that look to nullify the opposition. And I feel like we've got to a point with Emery where he's built this possession-based system that will rinse, repeat the same methodology every single game. It's like, it reminds me of, and the way we're playing doesn't remind me of this, but it reminds me of a philosophy of a team. Say, for example, like PSG or Arsenal or Man City, who have a structured base of how they play, or even say Ange ball, and where you look at those different types of systems is each game they'll do the same thing. They'll play the same way. It's the same brand. It's, for example, PSG, it was fullbacks inverting and it was a single pivot. They'll leave two at the back, and it's the same every single game. And we've got to that phase where we set up and try to play exactly the same way. But unfortunately, the players aren't at this moment in time capable of finding the right pass, controlling the right ball, getting past this certain phase of the pitch, the 3/4 of the way up to the pitch, getting in and around the box. It's been nullified and it's been stifled. And unfortunately, for however we want to look at this, and we can go, but it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. Okay. I understand and I believe in Emery that it can get better. But the problem we've got is that we're running out of time. Time is the big issue here for me, because we're going into a game on Sunday against Sunderland. And look, I respect every opposition. Every opposition you respect. You have to earn the right to win a game of football. But quite frankly, if we lose to Sunderland on Sunday, what happens then? Where do we go from there? And this is where I'm really concerned, is in the sense of I can see what's happening on the pitch. I feel like I can read a game of football. And this is kind of where the positives will come in a second. But where I've got a slight concern is it's body language, it's psychology behind looking at the players, the demeanor, the the way in which they're carrying themselves. And I looked at last night and I thought, "Do you know what? Like, I'm we're not gonna win the League Cup. Like, we're not we haven't won a trophy in domestic English football for what is it, around 30 years. So my objective, it wasn't to win the League Cup. But I actually felt like if we could have a good performance and maybe win and score a couple of goals, the confidence can then grow. You can then have a building block from Saturday, and you go into the game on Sunday with confidence, a good feeling, everything looks good. But what it felt like at the end of the game is it felt like a real bad season that we've had in the past. You know, those ones where you go and play someone like Wickham and you've had a bad start to the season and you lose to them and the body language just drops and then you get a bad vibe and it kind of felt a bit like that. And even though we drew the game and we didn't lose, etc., it just had that bad feeling. And Sunday, Sunday is absolutely massive. Like it's must win. And like I say, I respect them. I respect their team. I respect every opposition. But at the end of the day, if we're not beating a newly promoted team who have just been promoted and we're 3.5 years into an Unai Emery reign, then where where does this next win come from? And it's not even and the next win that I'm concerned about. And this is kind of what I've got written down on my notes here. Where does the run of wins come from? Because right now, I can't see us going on 3, 4, 5 game winning run, which is what we've been able to do in the past. I just can't see it. And I'm very positive. I'm guys, any regular viewer know how positive I am. And I'm just concerned. I'm just slightly worried about the direction that we're going in. And I look at the players' demeanor. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look fun. And it just looks hard work. And I think the game plan at times isn't kind of fitting into the players at times, playing the same sort of way. And I really want to just touch on this positive that I've said I'm going to speak about. And it is a positive, but then it kind of feeds into a bit of a negative because I want to show you, Everton. So we tweaked the system from Everton and we played different. So we played a different type of formation, which was very similar, but still it was a formation that we played that we looked better against Brentford. This was how we set up against Everton. And, you can see already where the main issue is. We've got 7 to 8 players inside our own half. There's no width. There's no threat further forward. And okay, 7 players with Rodgers on the halfway line, 8 with Rodgers inside his own half. And this basic system looked like this to me. And this is where I've been heavily critical of Villa this season. And this is how this team played against Everton. And I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to keep showing you until we start changing. Back two, double pivot screens. Right back goes forward. Left back offers width through there. You've got the player on the left playing as an inside forward, inside a little pocket of space. Striker, you've got the number 10 off the striker, and then you've got the player that's played out wide that is inverted. And that's how we set up against Everton. Now, against Brentford, we tweaked the system, and in my opinion, it was better. It was a lot better. And we can see here now that this is the average positions for the game against Brentford. So what can we spot? Well, we can spot we had a 2 at the back, exactly the same as what we did against Everton. Right back is going forward, but also you can see he's got a red heat map. So he's in and around making up that back three at times as well. You've got your double pivot of Bogard and McGinn. McGinn kind of screening when your right back goes forward. And Bogard playing in that Yuri Tielemans role on that left-hand side. Loved Bogard. Thought he was brilliant. He had 90-ish% passing accuracy. Now, where the system changed was Ian Maatsen and the combination with Sancho. Look at Sancho. Sancho on that left-hand side, penetrating and attacking and getting a lot of touches in and around the 18-yard box. We'd also got Ian Maatsen, who was helping support him, playing as an inverting role. Look at that heat map of how much he's going infield. For me, loads better. You've got width on the right-hand side from Guesson. Was he perfect? No, but we've got to work at that. And then you've got your striker in Marlon and the number 10 as Elliott. Now, for me, this was loads better. Why was it loads better? It was loads better because you've got somebody who is straight up occupying width. Soon as he gets the ball, what does he want to do? Drive forward. We haven't had that all season. Massive positive. Maatsen playing inside that little pocket there. There's a combination, there's a partnership, there's width. I prefer it. I much prefer that option on that left-hand side. Right-hand side, a little bit more of an issue because Guesson was struggling to control the ball at times. Final pass was very difficult. But for me, this is the team that I would like to see start against Sunderland. Elliott on the right, he can invert. Rodgers can drop slightly. Width can come through here. We can screen, and that's how the system can look. What this enables Rodgers to do, and what this system and formation allows Rodgers to do in particular, is take the opposition away from Rodgers. Because what we saw when the substitutions came on against Brentford, we went back into a familiar pattern of players. We went with Buendia in that little pocket on the left. We went with everything trying to go through Rodgers. And we know that teams are shutting Villa down in a central area. They're shutting us down in the middle of the pitch. You know, Morgan Rodgers, he can play in that central space, but we're playing against Premier League high-intensity teams now. They're not giving Rodgers time on the ball. They're not allowing him to just pick it up, roll. And that's why sometimes, yes, he's got to be better on the ball. And when he does get into those areas of decision-making, be better. But most of the time now, as soon as Rodgers gets the ball, he's got someone straight on him. Now, what this system allows us to do is that the problems now, when Sancho's got the ball, Rodgers, you know, there might be 2 or 3 players that, you know, when we're talking about this situation right here, you've got 2 players probably up against 3 players because they're wanting to shut Villa out, which then should start giving more space in different areas for key Aston Villa players. For me, it's about numbers. If you know you've got a real expressive player that's on that right or left-hand side, he's not going to give the ball away and he's going to find Maatsen. There's more space elsewhere for other Villa players to try and exploit. And it's not just, oh, we got to go down the middle. That's the area that Villa are going to try and nullify us. If we can shut out that area, then absolutely fine. And you can kind of see from the heat map that when Sancho and Maatsen were on the pitch, look at this left, well, yeah, their right-hand side. You've got number 2, number 20, and number 4 all doing work on that sort of left-hand side that we're attacking. And then you start looking at the right-hand side, and there's a bigger distance. They've blocked us out centrally. Look, you can see exactly what they want to do centrally. Block out the center of the pitch. But if we can start attacking more out wide and create more problems for the opposition, then that's only a good thing. But here's my negative. What do I think he's going to do it against Sunderland? He's going to bring Digne back in. He's going to put Buendia on the left. That is my issue with what I think he's going to do. Elliott has to start. So, I'm just frustrated, guys, with what we're doing. I mean, we were better with the ball. We were better. But it's just, my issue is what's next, what's to come. And I look at this as well, and Keith Andrews, fresh in the job, and he's got a successful result again against Emery. Keith Andrews, like, this should be a horrific time for Keith Andrews. He should be struggling. But it looks fine. He's got his team set up really well. For Villa, guys, it's just frustrating, and I just want us to be back to what we were. I want us to score more goals, play well. I don't want to keep coming on and being negative and talking about Emery and talking about the system and etc. But I can't be deluded, guys. I can't just come on and keep going. It'll get better. Trust Emery. Don't be too negative. I can't do that. I've got to be realistic. I've got to air my frustrations. I've got to air how I'm feeling. I want Emery to get it right. I want the players to deliver. But right now, I'm not sure the message from both and the message and the performance is hitting home enough. So it's a big game on Sunday. It's absolutely massive. It's must win. Must win. So I was going to do a nice match preview today and just roll into the normal content, but I can't, because I've got to air how I'm feeling and air my frustration and air what's going on. And I feel like I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. So I'll be back tomorrow for a match preview. Hopefully I'm more positive. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Comment your thoughts. Up the Villa.